The views and opinions expressed are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect that of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
Welcome to the Commissioner's Corner, brought to you by the Virgin Islands Department of Education. I am your host, Dr. Dionne Wells-Hedrington, and through this platform, we aim to keep the community abreast of what's happening in the Virgin Islands Department of Education as we transform today's learners into tomorrow's leaders. You can catch us every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on 93.1 FM or on WTJX and VIDE's Facebook page and YouTube pages. So with me today, I have two very special guests. We have Mr. Irvin Mason, our Director of Disaster Planning and School Safety. Welcome, Mr. Mason.
Thank you.
And also with us is Director for Internal Audit. This is the woman of business, Roseann Mondy. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us this afternoon. But before we jump into our conversation, I would like us to have a moment of silence as we remember our beloved Jacada Isaac of the Janie Tuitt Elementary School that was recently killed. And we do mourn our loss, and our hearts and our sympathy goes out to the Janie Tuitt family, as well as the entire Virgin Islands Department of Education, the community, and of course, Jacada's family. I would also like to inform the community of what took place today. And I'm going to let Ms. Mondy speak a little bit about it because she was also at the Territorial Spelling Bee competition that was hosted at Free Will Baptist School. And I must say, as I sat in the seat and I watched the spellers, I couldn't even watch them. I have to be very honest. I when they got up to the mic and they were getting ready to spell, I just meditated, closed my eyes, and just really just prayed for them because that takes a lot of courage. And we had 12 champions competing for the territorial position, and that person goes to, I believe it's Maryland, if I'm not mistaken, or it might be DC, to compete in the national scripts competition. And I said to them when I introduced and welcomed everyone to the Territorial Spelling Bee that I think it's time. Miss Monday, what do you think? That the trophy comes back to the VI?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would say by today's performance, I think it's definitely a possibility. I too was in the room and it was a lot of excitement. I definitely felt all the butterflies that all the spellers and all of our winners felt today. But I am so proud of our children's performance today. It was quite the spectacle. So,
I could be a little bit swayed for public school students. Yes. And so our winner comes from Eulalie Rivera Pre-K to 8 program, and that's Mr. Joseph Griot, and he's an 8th grader. And I was so filled with gratitude that he was able to capture the trophy and the position, because this would be his last spelling bee that he would qualify for. So it was a great day. Our second place winner was Rayan Felix, and what was ironic about that is Rayan won the district spelling bee over Joseph, right?
Correct.
And then Joseph came back and won the territorial. Took it home. So congratulations to them, as well as Caden Letsum Dow from the Antilles School in the St. Thomas St. John district. We celebrate them because in my eyes, they're all winners. So congratulations to all the spellers. Thank you to our coaches, our parents, and just all the supporters who were there today to witness this great event. And so today we're jumping into some more conversations around school security and around what the department has been doing to ensure that there's an avenue available to our students, our faculty and staff, or the community alike when it comes to the systems and operations of the Virgin Islands Department of Education. So before I jump in with you, Ms. Mondy, Mr. Mason, on our last show, we sort of touched a little bit on the crisis plans. Yeah. I would like for you to go a little bit deeper in explaining to the community what we're doing with these crisis plans and why is it important for us to review them and update them annually.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for having me here this evening. It's a pleasure being here. And the spelling bee, I would have gotten knocked out in the first round. Yeah, but as we talk about a crisis management plan for the territory, what we're doing in the Department of Education, we're putting together a complete crisis management plan for the whole Department of Education, not just for the schools. And in that plan, each school will have its own individual plan within the comprehensive plan. So Joseph Gomez, Central, everybody have their own plan. We'll tell you what to do. The plan will also go to each first responding agency, fire, police, EMS. So if a situation happens on the campus, the fire department will already have the plan while they're responding to the situation. So they know exactly what to do, where to go. Also in the plans, we'll create crisis teams. Each school will have their own crisis team. Consists of about 15 individuals working for the Department of Education within the school. Counselor, principal, the monitor, maybe 2 students. So everybody, if something happened, because if a situation happened on our campuses, the students will be the first one there before the first responders get there. And what we did in all the schools in the territory, we gave all the students in the high schools CPR first aid. So we have a lot of students in our schools, our high schools, who are CPR certified. So if something happened, they'll be the first one there to help the individual before the first responders get there. And we do practice, we will practice our plans, because a plan is no good sitting on a shelf.
Right.
Because plans change. People change work, change job. So we have to update our plan, and it's very important that we drill and exercise our plans.
And I think one of the most critical things that you just said was drill.
Yeah.
And when I was a classroom teacher, I was the sweeper for my building. That's what we called those who were on the crisis team that would be responsible in the event that they sounded the alarm. We would be the last to leave the building by checking all the rooms to make sure that there were no people in my particular wing. So having the crisis teams is also critical to account for every single person, every single employee. And doing the drills helps us to be prepared in the event that something should happen.
Yeah, because preparation is the key.
Right.
We have to be prepared. I mean, we in the Virgin Islands, we react to stuff. Mm-hmm. We're not prepared. We think things happen, then react to it. Preparation is the key to anything you do. Like I tell people, if you're cooking your food, you don't take the meat out of the fridge and just put it in the pot.
Right.
You got to cook it. You got to season it. When you're going to school, coming to work, you got to bathe. So we're not prepared for a disaster. Mm-hmm. We tend to think that disaster is not going to happen to us, but we never know. So
I don't know if we think that anymore. I think it depends on what type of disaster. Mm-hmm. I think that we are very fortunate to have not experienced any type of active shooting on our campuses, but prevention and preparation is important. So I really commend you, Mr. Mason, and your team for seeing the importance of updating these plans, and again emphasizing that they're not just plans for the sake of plans, but that we're actually using the plans. One of the things that I don't want you to forget is the importance of educating the parents.
Yeah, and that's something we're definitely going to embark on, because what we plan to do is go into every community and do presentations, letting the parents, the community know what Department of Education is doing to protect your child when it comes to school. Because you want your child to come back home safe. You as a parent, because the school is supposed to be a safe haven for your kids. It's not some place they go to school and go, well, if my daughter, my son is going to return home tonight. And not only the students, the faculty and staff too have to be prepared and make sure they're in a safe environment. Because if the environment is not safe, it's not conducive for learning.
And if people are not aware of where to go in the event that there's an emergency, that's when you have chaos.
Yeah.
And we do not want that in the department. We want to make sure that all the stakeholders are involved, to include the students.
Yep.
Who must know what to do in the event that you have an earthquake, a fire, active shooter,
A
tsunami, hurricane preparedness, the whole gamut.
And it's very important that the community and the parents know, because if a situation happens, like a tsunami happening in a school, and your child is at a school and you're up on a high hill, your first instinct is go for your child. I'm going for my child. I don't care what you tell me. But suppose the school has a plan to evacuate your child. And now you leave from where you had come down safe and sound, and then when you come down, your
They
child's
get
already
caught up.
evacuated.
You get caught up.
And a tsunami is a series of waves. And the second wave come and kill you, but you're not knowing. So you need to know, go to the schools, find out what's the plan. Even the daycare. People have children going to the daycare in Avenue in St. Thomas, right close to the water.
The offices.
The offices. So you need to know your plans and how your plans are. And then not only knowing your plan, when you know the plan, educate your child.
Right.
Tell your child, take them, say, listen, if something happens, this is what you do. This is the hill you go up. This is where you duck over and hold. That leads you educate them. You don't leave it on other people to educate your children about safety.
So I'm glad you said that, because one of the things that I remember from attending the safety conference with you was the fact that we needed to have supplies.
Yeah.
Within our classrooms, should we have any type of event. And so we're actually utilizing some of the American Rescue Plan funding to get the backpacks that have all the first aid kits and everything that the teacher can readily grab and go to the location of evacuation.
Each class will be equipped with a first aid, with a backpack. So if in case of something happen, teacher grab the bag, take it to the evacuation point, first aid kit, whatever it is, the school roster, the class roster, everything will be in that kit. So when they reach to the designated area, they'll take the roll or come for the student who is there, who's not there. If a student is absent that day, they will know. So we put in a bag in every class, every classroom in the territory, not just in the office, not just in the hallway, but every classroom.
I think it's an important conversation to have too, because I think in the territory, oftentimes when you think of disaster, the first thing that comes to mind is hurricane. So having the conversation and broadening, right, the scope of what this all entails is important.
Well, hurricane, I could deal with a hurricane any day, because we deal with hurricane. You could prepare, because think about a hurricane. You have days before the hurricane arrives. You have like 7 days before the hurricane arrives. You get a warning, a watch. You get all this information before the hurricane arrives. So you have days to prepare. But an unknown, like a tsunami or earthquake that just happened, you have to be prepared for it.
Right.
So, Mr. Mason, your cord is hitting and
Okay.
you're creating a little disturbance here today. I hope that's not a signal of anything that we should prepare for.
Because we coming up right now, we got carry wave drill coming up in.
When is that?
That's this Thursday, the 21st. That all our schools are taking part in the. It's around 11 o'clock. A sign will come on your phone, a signal come on your phone, you drop cover and hold, and then you evacuate.
Okay.
But the schools them in the high area don't have to evacuate. We want them to drop cover and hold, but do not evacuate. But the school in the low line area, close to the water, have to evacuate.
So, before I move on to Ms. Mondy, the drills that you are currently doing within our schools, are they time drills?
Yes.
And do they involve the partners, the emergency responders?
They involve the emergency responders as fire, EMS, and PIPD.
Okay. Excellent. So you mentioned something when you talked about making sure that our campuses are secure and that our people are safe. And so I want to segue to Ms. Mondy. I would like for you to share with the community some of what we've done to ensure that there's a pipeline or a network or system in place should we have any type of complaints, anything that should be brought to our attention, whether it's within the campus, involving the school, outside to a particular activity that our students or faculty and staff may be to, or general concerns within the Department of Education. Can you tell the community what we've put in place for that?
Sure. So what I'm about to share is in addition to what's already in place, right? So certainly we know within our schools, we have our school administrators, your principals, your APs, your teachers, your counselors. So any of the students who do have a concern, those individuals are always there and hopefully making themselves readily available to listen to any of the students' concerns. We at the department recognized that there was a need to create another avenue, right? There may be instances where someone's not comfortable speaking in front of others, or maybe not comfortable bringing it to an adult. We decided at the department to create an anonymous hotline. It's called the VIDE compliance line, should there be any concerns, and it's very broad. It can be a concern, as the commissioner was saying, of fraud. It can be of sexual harassment. If you're thinking that there may be theft, drug use, the whole gamut. The VIDE has a compliance line that you can call or text 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, and someone will answer the call live.
Awesome. And so, when the call is answered, what happens next?
Sure. So the department thought it was very important to not just have anybody answer the call, right? You want to make sure that whomever is answering the call is trained to deal with very sensitive information and highly volatile situations. So we partnered with a company who've been doing this for over 25 years. They have trained employees who are trained throughout the year. If you call, they'll be there to answer all of your questions. They'll be asking the caller questions as well around what their concerns are. They'll document the information and raise it to someone within our department to address, and we will definitely take care of it.
So how do people get the information in order to call the number? Is this information shared with the students, the faculty and staff, or parents? Where can they find the information?
Yes, so good question. So when the hotline launched in 2022, the department made a concerted effort to create a marketing campaign. So there's posters in all of our schools. There's brochures. The information is also posted on our website as well. So the contact number is 1-800-403-2461. They can call that number, or you can also text the word report to that same number as well. In addition to that, you can certainly go online to the website, which is www.videcomplianceline.com.
And this is very important because as the commissioner, I field a lot of calls. I'm an open door person. People call my cell phone, they email me, I try to respond to complaints. Depending on what they are, I may forward to the appropriate person to dive a little bit deeper into concerns. But sometimes people want to be anonymous.
Absolutely.
And don't want to be involved in the investigation per se. And so I find the compliance line an avenue that is safe, protected, that still can get the message out to us like, hey, this is something I need you to look at.
Correct.
And so I commend you for taking lead with that. I'm happy that we have that in place. And so we just have to continue our campaign of informing the community, informing the parents and all stakeholders that this is a service that we put in place because your perception, your experience, your concerns are important to us here at VIDE. Did you have a comment, Mr. Mason?
It's also in Spanish and French Creole.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So-
Yes. And again, just to echo the point, if you don't want to share your name or your contact information, that is absolutely fine. We're not concerned with the who. We want to understand the what and really get to the source of the issue and drive the change that's needed.
And so I had the pleasure of sitting on a call with you, Mr. Mason, with the University of the Virgin Islands, who conducted a survey.
Yeah.
And it was a survey centered around school safety and student perceptions and teacher perceptions. And so as they were sharing the data with us, they still have to go back and do some more surveying in St. Thomas. However, them sharing the data with us really revealed that our students don't really feel safe at school. The perception of the teachers was higher than how the students were feeling. Questions about, the use of drugs and so forth were different for teachers than for students. Students could actually tell you, hey, there's students on the campus that are smoking. And so what did you think about that, Mr. Mason?
It was very enlightening to me, and we found out a lot of bullying taking place on our campuses. A lot of bullying, and students don't really report it. And like they're scared if they report bullying, they'll be harassed, they'll be teased and stuff like that. So, and the student perspective and the teacher perspective is different.
Very different.
It's very, very different. And I think we need to go more in depth, and they will come back and do, especially, well, on St. Thomas, they didn't get as much information they needed, so we're going to go back and we're going to get information. But it's a good survey, and it's something good. We have a footprint to work with.
And it's so interesting because it falls right in line with a conversation that I had with Arizona State University. And when I was a principal, I remember them doing a comprehensive analysis of my school, where we looked at the leadership, we looked at absenteeism, we looked at student performance, and then we looked at the culture of the school. And so even to the differences in responses, excuse me, teachers felt that they were advocates.
Yeah.
How did the students feel?
The students feel that they
Excuse me.
they're for themselves. I mean, the teachers was advocates and stuff, but the students feel completely different. Completely different.
So I'm working with Arizona State University to come in and do that comprehensive study. And it's not to come down on any particular school, It's for us to have a baseline of how people really
And
feel.
awareness.
Yeah.
And awareness.
Yes.
And so if we're talking about improving culture and improving the safety of our schools, we got to know how people really feel.
Right.
And a lot of times as adults, we run away from the perceptions of children. I love children. I want to hear what the children have to say.
And they will
why
tell you.
I enjoy having the meetings with the student
the council.
councils at
Yeah.
high schools. The children have an area where they can be open and honest. And what I really value about that is that they even give suggestions. We were talking about artificial intelligence and how, one of the students said all the students are doing is chat GPT. Like our students they're raising an illiterate society was the students' comment. And I said, well, why would you say that? Because they're not learning how to write. They're relying on artificial intelligence to do the right thing for them. I thought it was very profound that a student recognized that, because artificial intelligence for us today is a supplement, right? But they're using it as the main course. And so we have to be very careful that our students are not missing those fundamental skills that they need to be good writers and good speakers and all of that as they go through their educational journey.
As we today at Central, we go about and we talk. We're having meetings with the student council, and one of the young men who was in the student council, we saw him at Central today, and we asked him simple question: how's the bus services?
Right.
And he was, hey, it's better. They're working on it, and it's something that we brought up. We've seen it's been fixed. So he's seen progress. We've seen that we are doing stuff. He still have little complaints.
Sure.
But he was pleased with the word. And then when talking to the student council, the students tell you everything, and they don't hold back.
Right.
But see, the key is to remember that the students are our biggest clients.
Yeah.
They're the most valuable clients we have. And so their perceptions mean a lot.
Absolutely.
Right? And so giving them, again, the opportunity to voice and speak we sit down in a room with the student council and the reps for each grade level. And so you have a prospective representative for the body. And so we've talked about even social emotional wellness, mental health. We've spent a good deal of time on mental health. And, the governor has an initiative where all the responding agencies sit down. Now we're talking more about mental health because this thing is real. There are people every other day, there's a situation. And my heart goes out to the families that we serve. Because if I have a broken family, then I have a broken student. And that's a problem. Right. Because students are focusing on everything at home and can't really come to school and concentrate. And so that's why it's so critical that we pay attention to how our students feel. And so doing more of those types of perception data collection and really looking at our culture to see if our students' needs are being met is the direction the department is moving in. And again, that analysis would give each independent school something to work with as they develop their school improvement plans to move their schools forward. And one thing I have to say is I always look at the whole child. It's not just about academics. It's about developing the whole child.
Right. So if I may, just one important point. I just remembered this as you were talking about the whole child. The VIDE compliance line, when it was instituted, we made sure that we partner with all of the other governmental agencies. Okay. So if a person in the community or a child has a concern and they think maybe this should be, I should reach out to Human Services, and you don't quite know who to contact within Human Services, call the VIDE hotline, go to the website and open your case. We will get it to where it should go, and we will ensure that the cases are addressed.
Yes.
Yeah, because you find a lot of people with mental health, they don't like to talk to people because they get a stigma that, oh, you're crazy or something wrong with you. So the hotline will give them an opportunity to come and say what they're feeling, how they're doing. So it's a very, very good tool, and I think it's a very good thing that the Department of Education branch out into the hotline. And it's been helping, it's been working, because we had a lot of complaints that we solved.
Right.
Yes.
We still have some on the bottom to work on, but
Yes.
it's been working.
Yes. So what we are going to do is dive a little bit deeper on another show, talking a little bit more about mental health and the work that we're doing in partnership with the Department of Health, as well as the Department of Human Services and the Virgin Islands Police Department. There's absolutely no department that is not touched by the Department of Education. We are like at the center of everything. If we have to close school, we impact everybody. And so working together to make sure that we're sharing the resources and pulling things together and really looking at how we could meet the needs of our families is where we're going towards. So, Ms. Mondy, we're getting ready to wrap up. Any last thing you want to say to the community?
I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this space to share once again with our larger community, our hotline, which is again www.videcomplianceline.com.
All right. And Mr. Mason, I'm going to wrap up for you because we're almost out of time. I want to thank the audience for being with us here today. Please see us again next Tuesday at 5:30 on 93.1 and on Facebook and VIDE WTJX page and our page as well. Have a blessed evening.
The views and opinions expressed are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect that of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
WTJX local forecast. A few scattered clouds tonight, lows 73 to 77. East to southeast winds at 5 to 15. We'll enjoy plenty of sunshine throughout the day tomorrow. Seasonably warm again. Temperatures in the middle to upper 80s. A few scattered clouds Wednesday night, 73 to 77. It'll be partly, if not mostly sunny on Thursday.